Hi all. In this video we are going to see how to solve a quadratic equation using the formula. So the formula is called Sridhar Acharya's formula. So before going on to that, let me tell you the tips of using this formula. When you're using the quadratic formula, first you should be careful that the equation is arranged in the right form. That is, in the standard form of a quadratic equation, which is ax square plus bx plus c equals 0. Else, it doesn't work. So, you should have one x squared term, one x term and a constant term on your left side. And the right side should be 0. Right hand side it should be 0. And secondly, make sure you take the square root of the whole b square minus 4ac. I will tell you the formula later on. So, the square root is for the whole b square minus 4ac. And you divide the whole thing by 2a. Your denominator is for everything above it. Wash your negatives. That is, even if your b is a negative form, is a negative number, when you square it, it becomes positive. Okay? Because squaring a negative number makes it positive. So, always the b square term would be positive. And then you will find plus or minus sign in between. And this plus or minus sign is the one which gives you two solutions to the question. Okay? And if you're using a calculator, the right answer will be rounded off to some number. So in some problem they may ask you the exact answer. Rounding the number might differ from person to person, right? So it is always better that you keep it in the radical form like this. I've given you the example. Instead of finding out the root 10 in your calculator, just keep the root 10 as it is so that your answer is exact. The quadratic formula to solve a quadratic equation is minus b plus or minus square root of, this square root is for the whole thing here, b square minus 4ac. Okay, and the whole thing, everything is divided upon 2a. So this is the formula. Normally I don't advise you to memorize anything, but this formula is worth memorizing. I always ask you to understand the problem and then do it. But here, this formula is very useful to you because sometimes the factorization doesn't work. Okay? In certain problems, this factorization doesn't work. In those cases, using this formula would help you to find the answer more easily and with less time. Let's do a few problems so that you get to know more about the formula. See, first when you get a question, you have to see if you have a x squared term, x term and a constant term. It is in the standard form, right? Next thing you do is finding out a, b and c. So the coefficient of x squared is your a. So here if nothing is given, that means your a is 1. What is your b? Your b is the coefficient of x term. Take along with the sign, okay? So that's b is plus 4. And the c is negative 21. See that you write your formula first and then plug in the values. So this is minus b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. Plug in the values. So that would imply minus 4. So that is minus, see minus b is 4, right? So that's minus 4 plus or minus square root of b squared, that is 4 squared, minus, I put this 4ac in a bracket, okay? So that's 4 times a is 1 here, times the c is negative 21, whole divided by 2 times a is 1. So that would be equal to minus 4 plus or minus square root of 4 square is 16. Now you multiply 4 times 1 times 21. that is plus 84 divided by 2a, that is 2. 2 times 1 is 2. So that gives you minus 4 plus or minus square root of 100 divided by 2. That implies minus 4 plus or minus 10. Root of 100 is 10 divided by 2. So you get the x value as, you have two formula here, right? Two equations here. That is minus 4 plus 10 over 2 is 1. So that will give you 6 over 2, which is 3. Okay. So one of your answer is 3. And the second one is x equals minus 4 minus 10 over 2. So that is nothing but minus 14 over 2, and that is minus 7. So this is your answer. Your x equals 3 and minus 7. If you want to check whether your answer is right, multiply the final answers you have got. That gives you minus 21, and you see that the value of C is minus 21 here. And add them up, you get minus 4, that is 3 take away 7 is 4. So here you get the 4. Understood? Okay. Second one is x square minus 6x plus 9 equals 0. So here let's put a, b and c first. So my a is 1 again, b is minus 6 and c is 9. So I would write the formula here. X equals minus b plus or minus square root of b square minus 4ac over whole thing over 2a. So plug in the values. So here it is minus of minus 6, because b itself is minus, a negative number. Okay. So minus of minus 6 plus or minus square root of b squared minus 6 the whole square minus 4ac. 4 times a is 1 times c is 9 over 2a. 2 times 1. Okay. So when you simplify, you get 6 minus of minus 6 is plus 6 plus or minus square root of 6 square minus 6 square is 36 minus, when you do 4 times 9, that is also a 36 here, over 2. So that is 6 plus or minus 0, because 36 minus 36 is 0. Square root of a 0 is 0 over 2. So you get the value x as 6 over 2. That is 3. You have one solution here. Okay. When your discriminant is 0, you have one solution. So your x is 3. That's all. Understood? In the previous problem, you had two solutions for a, and here you have one solution. Okay. Third one. It is 3x square plus 6x equals minus 10. It is not in the standard form of a quadratic equation. Let me change that first. So it is 3x squared plus 6x plus 10. That minus 10, when it comes inside, it becomes plus 10 equals 0. Okay. So now your a is 3. Yeah, you have x square is not a bad term. So you have got a as 3, b as 6, and your c is 10. Okay, all positive. Let's solve this. So what happens, ma? The formula is x equals minus b plus or minus square root of b square minus 4ac, right, over 2a. Keep writing the formula for each question so that it gets you can memorize it easily. Okay. So that would be minus 6 plus or minus square root of b square is 6 square minus 4 times A is 3 times C is 10 over 2 times 3. Okay. A is 3 here. So 2 times 3. So that would be equal to minus 6 plus or minus square root of 36 minus 120 over 6. Did you get that? So here your answer is minus 6 plus or minus square root of negative 84 over 6. There is no square root for a negative number, so you can say there is no solution. You cannot proceed further. So the answer is no solution. Did you understand? So when the discriminant is less than 0, you won't have any solution for it. And the last one we are going to do is this. So this is in the standard form. You have your A as negative 3, B is positive 12, and C is 1 this time. Okay, so let's do. So your X is equal to minus B plus or minus square root of B square minus 4AC over 2A, right? Let me plug in the values here. Minus B is minus 12 plus or minus square root of B square is 12 square, okay? Minus 4 times A is negative 3 times C is 1 divided by 2 times negative 3, okay? So that would give you minus 12 plus or minus square root of B square is 144, right? 144, and here this would become plus 12. So that is 156. 156 divided by negative 6. So now what happens? Your answer, your X will be, when you get root 156, you can either use the calculator and get the exact answer, or you can simplify the radical. I hope you know how to simplify the radicals. I just tell you, like, you keep dividing 156 by the lowest number possible. So I start with 2. So that's 78. Again with 2. So that is 39. You can't, okay, now again with 3. So that goes 13 times, only this much. Then you have to do 13 to get 1, okay? Now see, if you have two numbers, same number is repeated twice, you can take the 2 out. Here you don't have pair, so you write that as root 39 only, okay? So what happens? Here my answer is minus 12 plus or minus 2 root 39, okay? This 156 becomes 2 root 39 over minus 6. Now see if you can divide the terms by the numerators and the denominator terms by the same number. Yes, you can divide everything by minus 2 as your common factor, right? So what happens? Take the minus 2 out and you would have 6 plus or minus root 39 over minus 6, okay? This minus 2 will go here 3 times. So your answer, your X value is 6 plus root 39 over 3 or 6 minus root 39 over 3. This is what I said in the last point. If you are not getting square root, perfect square root, try to keep it as radicals itself in order to get the exact answer. In the tips I had mentioned it in the last point. Or you can also use the calculator and get the answer, but when you are rounding off the numbers, you may have a slight difference in the answers. That's all. So we have seen in this examples quadratic equation with two different solutions, and here you have one solution, okay, and you saw a problem with no solution, and here we got a problem with radicals, okay. Okay, so all the four types I have discussed here, and I hope you would have understood this. Go through again and again until you understand. It is very easy. You're just using the formula, plugging in the value, and just stick on to the rules, and be careful with your plus and minus signs, and you get the perfect answer. Okay? Thank you. Take care. Bye.